Alright, you guys, we're now going to be doing Leet Code Problem 5, longest palindrome. Make sure that in your terminal, you're CD'd into the course directory, exercises folder, and then run this just command here to run our test suite. So, how are you going to go about solving this? I want you guys to think of a palindromic string as where the left half of the string mirrors the right half. So this left half mirrors this right half, and this left half mirrors this right half. And to check that a left half and a right half mirror each other, I'm going to be using a technique called expand around the center. And then we're going to check that the values to the left and right of the center equal each other. So let's say we're going to iterate through our input string of ABA, and we start at A. I'm going to create a left and right pointer, and they're going to start right one value below, one value up. Well, null is not equal to B, so our longest PS is character A. We're loop to B. Well, we'll create a left and right pointer. A is equal to A, so our longest PS is ABA. We're going to expand left to the left and right to the right, but these are null, invalid. So our longest PS is ABA. Now, oh yeah, and then our for loop goes to A, left and right pointers. B is not equal to null, so we still maintain our longest PS of ABA. But there's a problem. Our previous approach won't work for even lettered strings. With our previous approach, it's going to say our longest PS is just the character A. How could we fix that? We can fix that by having our center both be the character we are iterating on and the space in between each character. So for A, we'll make the center A, then this, then B, then this in between, then B, then in between, and then A again. So for example, our longest palindromic substring is ABBA. And in our code, we'll go in between. So we'll have a left and right pointer. Well, B is equal to B. So our longest PS is BB. And we're going to expand left to the left and right to the right. A is equal to A. So our longest PS is ABBA. Great. So let's implement that in our code. I'll create a start index variable because LeetCode's test wants to return the actual longest palindromic substring. And I'll use start index to eventually grab it. I'll set it to 0 at first. I'll set max length to be 1 because the longest palindromic substring has to be at least 1, as we can see here. And I'm going to create a helper function. I'm going to call it expand around middle. And it's going to take a left and right index to kind of like be a pointer value. And I'm going to run a while loop in here. So while the left index is valid, so while left is greater than or equal to 0, because, right, if this left pointer ever goes here, well, we don't want to run our while loop code. So, and our right pointer is valid, so right is less than s.length. And lastly, the value at the left pointer is equal to the value at the right pointer. Then we want to expand the left pointer more to the left and the right pointer more to the right. So left minus equals 1, and then right plus equals 1. Now let's check. So since this code within these brackets here only runs if we have a valid palindrome because we're expanding around the middle, let's check the size of our current palindrome. I'll create a variable called const current pal length for current palindrome length is equal to, well, right minus left, and then I'm going to add 1 because array indices start at 0, so we're going to add 1 to compensate. And I'll say if current palindrome length is greater than the max length, well, we have a new max length. So max length is equal to current pal length. And then I'm going to set the start index to be wherever left is. We'll see soon what the start index does. Alright, so now this helper function's done. And now let's iterate through every character in the input string. Let I is equal to 0, I is less than s.length, I plus plus. And I'm going to say expand around middle. I minus 1, and then I plus 1, and then expand around middle, I, and then I plus 1. So why did I do expand around middle, I minus 1, I plus 1? Let's go back to the slides. Let's go back to the odds. So if I want to treat this, if we're in our for loop, we're at this character A. To treat this as a center, I want to pass the left of the index before it, and then to pass a valid right, I pass the index after it. So that's what this does. Now what's great about here is this accounts for the spaces in between each character. Whoops. Let's go back to the evens. Now I want you guys to ignore these arrows really quick and imagine that our for loop is at character B. How could we account for treating the in-between here as a center? We'll say the left is this character and then the right is this character. If this is the left and this is the right, our code will treat in-between as the center. So this code right here accounts for the spaces in between each character, so our even lettered code works. And last, so once our for loop runs and we keep running expand around the middle, which updates the max length and the start index correspondingly, well, LeetCode wants us to pass the actual longest substring. So I'll do return s.slice from start index till start index plus max length. I will save, and our test pass. So let's make sure our code also passes the LeetCode test. Paste it in, submit, and we're good to go. Let's go over the complexity. So what's the complexity analysis for longest palindrome? Time complexity is O of n squared because expanding a palindrome around its center could take up to O of n time, and we expand around the center for each character in the input string. Space complexity is O of 1. Alright you guys, that concludes this video.